Hello, my name is Dan McNeil. I'm the Executive Director of PeaceMaker Minnesota. It's a pleasure to be with you today. PeaceMaker was founded in 1998. We're a nonprofit organization based in Roseville, Minnesota, but we serve the entire state. Our mission is to help schools to be safer places, free from bullying and harassment, and to help kids learn positive relational skills like empathy, respect, cooperation, and how to resolve conflicts peacefully. We help schools by developing sustainable support for their work and by helping schools to implement the best practices. I'm here to talk with you about best practices. Back in 2012, we interviewed a bunch of our principals and social workers and counselors at our partner schools. We did some research. We also interviewed other professionals in the field and said, what are the most important things that schools can do to stop violence and to have a bully-free, positive learning environment? And we came up with six things. We learned 6 things, and I'm here to talk with you about them today. So the first one is to measure results. Measuring results, it helps you give a focus for your work. It helps you to set a goal, a sort of rallying point. It also helps you to determine are things working or not working, and allows you to make data-driven decisions. The second best practice that we came up with is to use evidence-based programs. That's programs that are based on evidence, based on research, that show that they work. I'm not talking here about simply evidence-based practices like developing care and relationships with students, but evidence-based programs. Programs that state, if you do X, Y, and Z, you should be able to get this result. There are 3 groups that I know of that have vetted programs to determine that the research behind them are sound and valid, to determine are they evidence-based programs. So the first one that I know of is the Blueprints for Violence Prevention Model Programs by the University of Colorado Boulder. And then there's the Model Programs Guide by the U.S. Department of Justice. And then there's the What Works Clearinghouse by the U.S. Department of Education. So these 3 bodies have websites that list evidence-based programs, violence prevention programs, conflict resolution programs. Please check them out. It's important that programs be implemented with fidelity, the way they're designed. The key obstacles to doing this, obviously, is time. It's difficult to make time during the day to implement these programs fully. The other is training for your staff. Are the staff prepared to implement the programs? And that gets to the third best practice that we identified, and that is training. Staff are transmitters of your school culture. Staff are the most important transmitters of your school culture. So they need to know what it is that you're trying to teach kids. They all need to know how to teach the kids what you're trying to teach them. So they're the most important piece of your work. And so having them trained, having them up to speed on what it is that you want them to do is critical. I believe everybody at your school should know, how to prevent bullying, how to recognize it, how to intervene in it, and how to report it. Your training should also involve for the leadership, how to investigate it. These are some essential trainings. Trainings get to our next best practice, which is to involve staff, parents, and students. With training, your staff are going to be more likely to be involved, more likely to know what they're supposed to be doing. Here's 3 ways to involve your staff. Invite them to join your school climate committee. Communicate with them often and early about what are your goals, what are the reasons that you're working in this area, what are the reasons that you're making this such a priority. And invite staff to give feedback on what it is that's going on and ideas for improving it. Ideas for involving your parents. Share with them what you're teaching the students. Parents should know how to recognize bullying, know why you're doing this, why you're trying to stop bullying, and how to do that. They should know what you're doing to teach kids conflict resolution skills, so they can try to practice those at home as well, so they can be supporters of what you're teaching. Invite parents into the classroom. They can come in and read to the younger kids peacemaking books. They can attend when there's a class presentation or a guest speaker talking about the importance of relational skills. You certainly can have evening guests come in or speakers talk to parents about the subject. And you can also invite parents to donate, to support your efforts through contributions. Have them be investors in your program. 3 ideas for involving students. One is, again, to invite them in, to bring their ideas to how to improve the school culture and climate, and then give them the opportunity to work on their ideas and give them the resources to do so. Involve students in being mentors to younger students, or teaching younger students maybe through some skits or role plays, or again by reading to younger students. But involve your students, have them be leaders. Survey students, get their input. What is the school climate? How do they feel that staff are responding to bullying? Help students feel like they're stakeholders in your work. Speaking of students, that gets us to the next best practice, which is involve students or serve students at all levels. All levels, meaning you give all your students a foundation for the skills and values or practices that you want them to be having at the school. That can best be done through use of an evidence-based program that impacts all students. The other thing would be to involve students that are at risk, particularly and so the most important thing is to know who's at risk. Who are the kids that have had behavior problems before? Who are the kids that have been hurt by bullying in the past? Know the kids that are at risk for being bullied, whether it's new kids or kids with some other special needs. But know your students, and then have the staff and have the people to be proactive in talking with the students and working with them to prevent problems from happening. And then at the other level, the last level, when a problem happens, make sure that you're working to develop positive consequences, learning experiences for the students, as well as supporting the students that are hurt. A good way to do this is through restorative circles or restorative practice, restorative justice process. But the other key element is follow-up, making sure you've got the people to follow up, and not just follow up once, but follow up continually to see, is that student okay? Is the other student doing what we thought that student would do to get on the right track? Is the follow-up. And the follow-up it takes time, it takes people, and that gets us to the 6th best practice that we identified, and that is giving your program roots. Roots, by this we mean it's not just one person that's in charge of your school climate, to involve other people. And so the most important thing is to have a group of people that work on this. Have a school climate committee. The other thing would be develop sustainable funding. PeaceMaker can help with that. Another element for roots is, again, not only having your measurements and goals, but have an action plan and explain to people and look at what are we doing. Is it reasonable to expect that what we're doing is going to get us the results that we want? So give your program roots so it's part of your school culture. So how does PeaceMaker Minnesota fit into this? How do we help schools implement best practices? Well, in several ways. So for example, to measure results and to help with student involvement, we pay for a student survey called the Oveus Bullying Questionnaire. It's sold by Hazelden. It's widely used throughout Minnesota, throughout the United States, and even the world to measure bullying. So we'll pay for that. We'll help schools assess the results and get their student input into their program. We'll also help with training. One way that we help with training is we provide matching funds to schools, basically cutting the training costs in half for your school. If you want to bring in an expert to talk about adverse childhood experiences or trauma care, bullying prevention, conflict resolution, we're willing to pay for half of that. PeaceMaker has its own training opportunities where we provide training, where we go to your school and we'll talk about bullying prevention, how to recognize it, how to intervene, how to report it, how to investigate it. We also provide peer mediation training for students and conflict resolution training for staff. Another way that we help schools implement best practices is, again, by providing matching funds, but matching funds to help you buy a curriculum, evidence-based program, to help you bring in speakers, to help at-risk kids get supplies, maybe even some playground equipment or playground improvements where a lot of the bullying happens. Some schools have used our matching funds to pay for extra recess help. We provide matching funds to school to help them in their work in a variety of ways. We also help schools use evidence-based programs by providing $100 to a school for the first 5 teachers that implement an evidence-based program like Second Step or the Oveus program. They're meant to be implemented weekly. If they can show log that they've implemented the programs weekly, we'll provide the school with $100 per teacher for the first 5 teachers, and then after that, matching funds can be used to support the other teachers. So if you've got 20 other teachers, we can basically we'll be providing $50, matching what the school contributes to get to that $100 per teacher. Another way that we help schools involve students is if you're a transition program, working with students 18 to 21 years of age with a disability. We pay students in transition programs to go to 4th grade classrooms and talk about the importance of including others, person-first language, and being an advocate for oneself and others. So those are the main ways that PeaceMaker helps schools implement best practices. We're interested in learning from schools and seeing any other way that we can help. PeaceMaker is interested in supporting K-12 schools in Minnesota that are not only committed to providing a positive learning environment, but really say that school climate is one of their top priorities. We don't provide one-year grants to schools. We want an ongoing partnership. Some schools we've been working with for more than 10 years. We're interested in schools that want to set goals and want to achieve them and work towards them and improve each year. You can find out how to apply to the PeaceMaker Network on our website. The application form is there under how we can help become a partner school. We charge a $100 membership fee every year to be a part of our network, but we think the benefits outweigh the cost. Hopefully this is of interest to you. Hopefully you're doing good work to provide a positive learning environment. If you want to talk about how else we can help, if you want me to come to your school, talk about the best practices, or talk about PeaceMaker Minnesota, just let me know. I can be contacted at 651-631-1604, 651-631-1604, or send me an email at dmcneil, M-C-N-E-I-L, dmcneil@peacemakermn.org. Please visit our website to learn more about our work. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We are at peacemakermn.org, peacemakermn.org. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.